Hello everyone, welcome to Redbus TS channel. In this video, we'll look at the H1B Visa 2020 lottery predictions. As today is the last day for H1B registrations filing. We'll look at overall analysis on the historical trends, US economy, and how we have come up with the number. So this is what we'll cover. These are various aspects we will analyze to come up with a number. So we've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So I think this year is a very different year. So we'll try to give you the best information we have at our disposal. Yeah. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel for getting regular updates. So firstly, the best place to look is look at the past data, right? So this is how the data looks. This is number of H1B visa applications or petitions, or registrations, whatever you call them, right? Which have been filed since 2004. You can see, I think it's pretty much going crazy since FY 2013, right? So this is fiscal year. Essentially, what it means is right now we are doing fiscal year 2022. So as you can see, there is a tremendous amount of demand, because the H1B has a limit of 85,000 per year. And last year we had about 275,000 registrations that were filed. So all it tells is from this chart is there is definitely more petitions or more registrations that will be filed this year, and there will be H1B lottery. Now, in terms of how the overall pattern moved, right? So this is the analysis for the last 10 plus years. As you can see, right, around in 2000 we had recession time frame. This was like 20 years ago, but we've been tracking data, right? So there was recovery, and then it actually extended it, and then you see that back in those days there was no registration process, but you would file all the H1B petitions or applications with USCIS, and as there was high demand, and when the recession was out, then you see that demand in 2008 and 9 time frame. So again, it actually then due to recession in 2011 and 12 time frame, we had again they were extended for quite some time. But since then, right, since FY 2013 and 14, you can see that the demand has really spiked up, and since FY 2014 we had lottery pretty much for the last consecutive 7 or 8 years, right? And this is expected this year as well, and we expect that there will be very, very high demand. Not as much as last year, but there will be high demand and there will be lottery. So that's what it is. So we'll look at the numbers at the end, but let's look at the various factors that influence this part. Now, firstly, the US economy, right? So this is actually a good indicator, unemployment rate in the US economy. With the pandemic, a lot of things have changed in the last 12 months or so, right? Because the current unemployment rate is about 6.2% compared to 3.5% last year during February. So what it means is basically the number of jobs that are available are lesser than last year, yeah. And there are more people looking and less jobs available. So what it tells is that if you look at the graph here, right? So the dotted line is the unemployment rate, and other one is the GDP growth rate. So if you see, the GDP growth rate is has pretty much dipped last year, and now it kind of covered the ground to some extent, but what has not recovered is the unemployment rate. It's still, you see there is a gap there, between 3.5 to 6.2. That's actually a significant number if you look at it in terms of unemployment. So what it tells is that there are less jobs that are available. Consequently, there will be less H1B jobs that are available. So we will expect, because of this pattern, we can expect some lesser H1B registrations for FY22 season. Now, in terms of pandemic effect, right? So, though we had 275,000 registrations filed last year, they did not convert into actual petition filings. Many people or many employers essentially, did not honor the offers. In fact, that was the reason we had second round H1B lottery as well. This has never happened in the past, but that's the reason, we even had second round H1B lottery. So this is due to the overall, pandemic of coronavirus situation and all of these things, right? And also with the travel ban, many could not get stamping, and many of the consulates are still closed for regular operations, right? So they are only opening in very, very limited fashion, and primarily focused on entry waiver only, or Dropbox options only. So all it tells is that companies have not even got all their H1B workers who got approvals last year from outside of the country to within the US. So this is so they would be keen to basically bring in those applicants this year, and they may or may not file a large number of H1B filings this year. So there will be less H1B registrations filed as per this analysis on this front. Yeah. Now, in terms of immigration outlook, right? If you look at the new administration, they have a very positive outlook. Unlike Trump administration era, we had this executive order called Buy American and Hire American executive order that was signed, and it actually had a lot of impact on the H1B program, right? So there were a lot of changes done, regulatory changes done, there were policy changes done. But what happened is, since Biden administration took office, they revoked the Buy American, Hire American part, and they only have Buy American, which actually is the revised version, which does not have all that clauses in there. So for this to take effect all across, it's going to take some time. But the outlook is very positive, and this is very much more friendlier for immigrants and the overall H1B program. What it means is that more employers will be willing to take the chance and file this year because they see a positive outlook here. So this will encourage more employers to file. Now, looking at the F1 students, right? Last year, as per USA's release, they said that about 46% of H1B filings were in advanced degree quota. But you look at the numbers from the Open Doors data, right? This is published last year, or end of last year, right? So there was a dip of 1.8% of students coming in. So overall, the number because of travel restrictions and a lot of other aspects, many students did not arrive in US. And even the year before, it was very, very meager 0.05% change. As you can see, it's been trickling down, very much in the last few years because of various immigration policies and US not being attractive. So this may or may not have direct impact on the current year H1B filings, but it will impact the future one. So what will impact this year is the OPT and STEM OPT filings, right? So this is a big chart that actually tells about as you can see, right, that will tell how the filings will be impacted, right? So if you see the numbers highlighted in yellow, right, on the screen. So there is no change in OPT numbers. There are still 223,000 OPT holders that are in there, and the 40% of them are in engineering and mathematics, basically STEM category. Close to 40% of them are in that STEM category. So roughly, if you see, there are about 220k F1 students on OPT right now, and if you look at STEM OPT, right, many of these 40% of them for the last from 2017-18, their OPT would be expiring now because they don't have any option to extend it. So technically, those 40% of students would have to apply for H1B this year. And if we go by that, likely about 88,000 applicants will very likely apply for H1B this season. So this is a rough number, right? Of course, this just gives us the magnitude of how many H1 applicants could apply, right? And also we need to consider the people or the students who graduated, and also undergrads and a lot of other things. So overall, we do not expect the demand to be reduced in terms of US masters quota students or in general. So this one will be holding as like in previous years. Yeah, so that's what it tells, and we will have similar filings from this area of applicants. Now, there are other positive things, that came up for H4 visa holders, right? If you look at it, like Biden administration has withdrawn the Trump administration era's plan to remove H4 EAD, but of course, the court is yet to decide on this. But overall, the current administration does not have any plan to remove H4 EAD, which is a positive sign. Also, there are provisions in the bill in US Citizenship Act of 2021 that there will be some provisions for H4 holders to work, right? So overall, this is positive. So we may expect a less number of H4 holders filing for this. Now, looking at the past applicants, right, I don't think they will give up, right? I mean, I don't expect them to give up because the immigration is going to be better in the current administration. So there will be more people applying. So we may not see reduced election numbers in there. And we have seen even people apply 4 to 5 times. And because the cost and effort is very, very low, it's about $10. So if there is a job available, they would go for it. One important aspect that has changed with pandemic is the way we work. On-site was virtual. Most of the IT professionals or the jobs in H1B are pretty much working from home or even from different countries. So it does not matter. So the customer behavior also changed. In the past, end clients would ask H1B holders to be in person, for all this consulting work. But this has changed. So what it means is that employers may actually try to get away with this new working trend where employers may file less H1Bs to cut down their cost and work remotely more with most of their employees either in their home countries, any of that, right? This overall reduces H1B filings, if this employers take this stance. So this is going to be interesting, how the market will react for that. So overall, right, if you look at all these aspects that we have looked at the trends, right? So the historical trends projects that there will be H1B lottery, no doubt about that. But the pandemic effect on this is going to be like pretty big. So there will be less H1B filings on that front. And the US economy side, there'll be because it's still not fully recovered, there'll be less H1B filings from that front. From immigration outlook standpoint, it's very favorable, so there'll be more H1B filings on that front. In F1 students on OPT, nothing has changed, so more H1B filings there. H4 holders, there will be less H1B filings because it's a very favorable situation for them. Past applicants, no changes there, there will be more filings. And the pandemic changes, the way we work, there will be less H1B filings. But I mean, this is a summary of what we just covered, right? Overall, it looks like it's going to be very, very hard. We have successfully predicted in the last few years, very successfully, pretty much with a margin of 10% error, right? But this year is very, very hard to predict because many things have changed and we're in unprecedented times. But our prediction tells that this year we will see a reduction number of H1B registrations, and it can be anywhere between 150,000 to 170,000 for this year. Though it's less cost for employers to file, there will be definitely close to 100,000 filings reduced, or 100,000 registrations reduced. So this is what our number is. Again, this is based on our experience looking at the overall market. We could be completely wrong, but again, this is a difficult year for us to predict. So we will go with this number and see. We will know the result in anyways in the next couple of days. Hope it was useful. Please do share your feedback and what are your predictions for this year in the comments for us to review. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe for getting regular updates.